Hey everyone, welcome. It's been a little while, been busy as always, but today stars aligned and I was able to go live, so that's what we're doing. Um, the trailer that was ahead of the video, if you guys were here early, that's how to sign up on the website if you're already a member and link the account so you save 5% off everything. Um, yeah, question that came in that I said I would start with today was, can I explain kind of green water and the benefits? And I think there are some non-benefits as well. Um, make sure chat's going. All right. So, green water, this thing is maybe the only, I don't even know, but it could be the only aquarium wives' tale or myth, or whatever, that I'm fully bought into. And what I mean by that is I can't scientifically prove why it's like a miracle, but in fish room science, watching fish and outdoors watching fish, it is a miracle. So, green water, basically what it is, it's an algae that replicates stupid fast once it gets going, right? And so I've actually got a couple of um, totes that are green water right now because we've been feeding fertilizer to everything. Sorry, I'm like catching up still. I was scarfing food right before I went live. Um, and so with lots of light and fertilizer or something like that, you're going to get this green water. Now, this green water, it thrives off fertilizer, fish poop, other contaminants, right? And so it can replicate stupid fast so much so that if you had a green water tank and you changed all the way to where there wasn't water left on the gravel, right? Uh, and then filled it back up, tomorrow, the next day, it would be very, very green. Um, so it can replicate very quickly. And so you can't see into the aquarium and all this. And so some people would say those are detrimental, right? Replicates very fast, hard to get rid of when you want it, and when you don't want it, I mean. And then you can't see your aquarium. But there's also a ton of benefits. There's actually one more detrimental thing I want to cover because there's so many benefits, and I don't want to forget this one detrimental thing. And that is, so when green water is growing and replicating, right? It's producing lots of oxygen. Great, super good, right? However, at night or when the light's not on, plants, including, you know, this algae, which is technically not a plant, no need to nerm rage on that, it will consume oxygen and release CO2. And so, like in ponds and some other things, you can get where um, the pH will crash or oxygen levels will go crazy low, and that's actually stressful on the fish. Now, in our home aquariums, that's not nearly as much of a thing, and that's because we're running air stones and we've got a better handle on aeration, right? I'm being distracted by my own little thingy there. That's I'm trying this little thing where it shows what people are buying because I think it gives cues to talk about and you know, yeah. So when it says where someone purchased it somewhere, that's actually at the retail store. So that's why you'll see the reason I got distracted because I saw a mono shrimp and I was like, oh yeah, you can't order that, but you can in the retail store. Anyway, so now a list of good things green water does. So one of them that we were talking about was you can't see into the aquarium. That's one of the first amazing benefits is if you're breeding fish or maybe you don't even know you're breeding fish, the fact it's so murky, you could have a spawn of fish down in the corner and all the predators, the other fish in there wouldn't know they were there. And so therefore, they get this like artificial cover all the time no matter where they are. Really good for live bearers and maybe things like cribensis and apistos and that kind of stuff. So that's one of the best benefits right there. Now, two, it's constantly cleaning water. So yes, will it consume fertilizer and nitrates and stuff like that? Yep. But it also is going to pull out heavy metals and toxins and things like that out of the water too. So if you maybe don't have the best city water or um, you just have contaminants in your water, green water really going to help you in that aspect. So especially again back to breeding, if you're really feeding a bunch of fry and we're overfeeding and we're really keeping that going, they're cleaning at the same time. I thought of another kind of detrimental benefit, or nah, it's not detrimental benefit, but a detrimental thing about green water. In a planted tank, it can shade some of the light, and it's absorbing nutrients like we're talking about right now, and that could be to the detriment of the live aquarium plants that you've bought. So it's not always 100% a good thing. But for the most part, it is. Now, some other benefits that these are the ones I can't tangibly quantify why. For some reason, when you take a fish that maybe is diseased, whether it's a guppy that has skin issues or ick or almost any ailment, not almost obviously, but there are a lot of ailments and I haven't cataloged which ones, but when they are living in a green water environment, it goes away. And so I don't know, is there something to do with maybe they're eating or ingesting some of the green water somehow? Is it other microorganisms in there are ingesting it and they're ingesting them? Is it the water is super duper 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 clean and therefore it's helping? But I know I've taken sick fish and put them in green water, and after like 2 months, they're the healthiest looking fish that we've ever, um, we've ever seen, right? And conversely, fish growing up outside in green water tend to be very, very, very healthy and great looking versus even a tote next to them that didn't have green water might be having some problems. I can't explain why it is. All I can do is say that I've replicated it a bunch of times, and I've taken things like goldfish, right? Goldfish are really struggling in like an aquarium, and either put it in a green pond outside or even in another green water aquarium, and after 2 or 3 months, that is looking like a show specimen of a goldfish. And so I think there are some properties that aren't widely studied. Maybe they're categorized in a scientific paper we haven't read yet or something. But I do think there's, call it a healing property, if you will, to green water, whether it's the byproduct of super clean water or very oxygenated water during the day, or someone asked if it's only external diseases. Well, that's hard to say, right? Like an external disease, you can see it, and then if it goes away, you no longer see it, so you know it's been cured. But I can't know if, like, I don't think it does anything for internal tapeworms, but I've also never tried that, right? So this is an area of study, I guess, that I haven't gone down the rabbit hole on. And one, it can be hard to keep green water going. When you need green water, it seems to always subside. When you don't want green water, you seem to be able to get a ton of it. And that's for lots of people, not even just myself. So, um, but I do find it very interesting, and I'm not afraid of green water. So, not afraid of it. I welcome it. I enjoy it. If I had the ability right now, I would choose to have all of my aquariums be green water. Not aquariums, but all my totes be green water because of the benefits. However, um, that would allow me to do a bunch of testing, and maybe after a year or two, I would have a different opinion and go, ooh, actually, I don't like it for this reason or that reason. But so far, every time I've had it, which is a fair number of times over the years, like kind of a lot, I've maintained it. I've always seemed to find the benefits, and maybe it's just the benefits outweigh the negatives, like being able to see your fish and that kind of stuff. But um, yeah, I really do like green water. I do think there's some magical properties there. I think everyone should experiment with it. Someone should learn way more than I know and teach us all about it. Um, but yeah, I mean it's and people were talking earlier in the chat about how it's kind of the catalyst for a bunch of live foods and things like that, and that's true. It also is a great food for baby fish and other things like different plankton. I don't know if it's planktons, but rotifers and other freshwater little microcrustaceans. So, can you transfer green water to other aquariums? You can. The problem is you might not have the same uh, like conditions that are conducive to it, right? So let's take you take like a 5 gallon bucket out of a pond, you go put it into an aquarium. If that aquarium doesn't have nearly as many nitrates and things like that, likely the green water will just kind of die back, right? And so you can kind of seed it and it can be kept going, but you need the same types of, what, in a pond, probably full sun, super, super duper bright, leaves are blowing in, decaying matter, maybe there's a high fish load, whatever contributed to that really thriving may not be, you know, may not be the same as what's going on in your aquarium. The 800 gallons cloudy today? Well, so two things. That skylight up there, you can see is just like, well, that taco covering up the skylight. Um, you can see that it's super bright. That lights the aquarium kind of oddly, and it's one of those on camera versus in person different, very different. Now that being said, they said, "Oh, it looks like you've been working on it." I have been working on it too. Not today, but I installed CO2. There's actually more lights. You can see it right. Oh, let me see if I can get the chair back. Right there. That's actually the box, the latest box prototype and everything um, for our new light. So, but yeah, now those are so we've got it's only being driven by the Aquarium Co-op light at this point. Do I have a cold or flu? No, I got a little bit of congestion, I would say, but nothing too crazy going on. The reality is the last 3 weeks probably, well, I guess probably since the beginning of the year, have actually been the hardest we've had, I think, since COVID started. Just with, whether you call it the flu or Omicron or the cold or whatever, we've had the most people kind of getting sick and needing to take time off of work to recover, and it's been hitting us on every front, right? So like UPS drivers are limited, like because the illnesses, right? Flu, cold, all these things are hitting everybody, not just our business. It's making everything harder. So like fish have been delayed. We tried to film an unboxing for 3 weeks in a row now. Today Jimmy went there, and when he got to the store, we only have one employee because of people who were sick and have called out. So they're gonna get healthy and all that. But that means that we're not filming an unboxing because there's only one employee. So Jimmy's role changed from, oh yeah, go film an unboxing. That'll be fun. That'll give us a little bit of leeway on the YouTube videos to, hey, stay there and help out. So he's actually there helping out at the retail store and just trying to make things, happen and probably bagging fish and doing those types of things. And that's been the way it's been for like the last 3 weeks of just like a group of people will get sick. Maybe we have one person out at the warehouse, we have one person out at the retail store, they get healthy, then you got them coming back, someone else gets it. We've got people in kind of the internet teams and things like that, right? So someone emailed me this morning saying, "Hey, I'm not feeling very well. Uh, I'm not, I'm still working and I'm just not feeling great. I've got a scheduled COVID test, in a couple of days." They don't interact with anybody anyway. They work from home, so it's just that, and it just makes it so everybody else steps up a little bit more. And I think it's just wearing on a lot of people. If most of you probably work, if you have a bunch of people call out, the people that are at work have a harder day. That harder day, after a few days, wears on you and your immune system. You're more likely to need to take some time off of work. So what I'm trying to say is, bear with us. Oh, you brought me some broth? All right, I have some broth. Apparently my voice is a problem to my wife even. Let's see. Corey, no offense, but your videos are very boring these days, partly because you talk too much, and secondly, it's nothing new or interesting. I agree. You should go watch someone else. Uh, the reality is you're watching Matrix Reloaded number 1252. I think about this all the time, actually. I don't even want to make videos because there's nothing left to do. But there's a bunch of people that want more of it, right? And so I end up thinking about it and I go, I think this is more like baseball or basketball or something repetitive, concerts. There's still a demand for it, right? Because let's say there's a 5-year-old person that gets into baseball, they want to watch baseball games. Let's say there's someone who's always watched baseball games in the background while they're doing something, and they'll continue to do that. I think that's exactly what YouTube is. But what I think hasn't happened is people haven't realized that yet. Um, it's my job, and so I think about it a lot. And what makes people rewatch The Office and Seinfeld and Friends and any show over and over and over again? Grey's Anatomy, House. It's that background noise, that familiarity. It doesn't take your full time attention, and I think there's different ways to utilize content. So when Grey's Anatomy, that Friday night episode or whenever it came out, that was a different crowd than the people that are watching it 20 years later on in the background. And so that's what I actually think YouTube is nowadays. It's actually more of a background sound platform. Yes, you can learn some things and stuff like that, but rarely are people really engaged watching something. It used to be much more search a problem, learn how to fix something, and that was the entire platform for a couple of years. And now I think it's mostly a background entertainment platform because something that might take like even Netflix and stuff. For me, it's not even a full attention platform anymore. Every once in a while, there might be a movie that you really give full attention to, but most times it's me working and listening to a series or something like that. And so um, but my takeaway is when you don't enjoy something, whether it's myself, a hobby, a job, or whatever, it's time to move on. You've got your one life, and I think if you think about things long and hard, most times it's a self-reflection of, if you're not enjoying something, you're bored, and you should do something to change that. All right. Haitian cichlid or an umbi? Go for a what do I like? Budicoferi. Those things are gnarly. They don't get enough love in my opinion. Budicoferi. All right. I always tell people I wish you're my dad. Oh no. Am I getting that old? I am getting the standard dad problems. I've got my my cabana shirt. I should be on a cruise boat or something with this shirt. And then the stupid pandemic, not the worst. I was gonna say the worst thing. That's clearly not the worst thing. But one of the things that really annoys me is wearing a mask all the time and having that beard. It like screwed up my skin, so now I'm like lotioning it to fix it. You probably see a few red spots. Super annoying. I had dry skin that I didn't realize till it was pretty advanced because of the beard. So that's why I shaved. I'm working on it, and even when I have to wear a mask now, it's still annoying. Um, but yeah, old man problems. All right, I know there's some chats to get to. Are we ever going to see Lamont again? I don't think so. For those who've been around a long time, the door is open and there is an open invite. I would love to basically do anything with Lamont again, whether it's video work, t-shirt work, artistic work, working in the store or warehouse. Lamont is a good dude that but he's had a kid, he's moved on and that kind of stuff. So if by chance he happens to be listening, hey man, reach out. I'm sure your opinion has changed on some topics in previous videos. You could always do director commentary over old videos. Certainly could, but does that sound fun to you? You know, and that's the thing is YouTube for a very long time was very fun, and that's what made me do it. There's money too, let's be real. Um, but I know that doing videos for money is never the same as doing it for fun. You guys see it when we go visit somewhere and we're genuinely impressed and learning. You guys can sense that vibe. We know it's different content. Rehashing content is not the same. Would it possibly check the box? Yeah, maybe. But I I don't want to spend the next 5, 10 years of my life going, hey, I should redo what I've already done. Let's live Groundhog's Day. Do you think Madagascar rainbows would be good with Tetras and a 55? I think that'd work out just fine. I want to find where... Let's see, viewer activity. There we go. Oh, man. I'm going to tell you guys right now, my thing is all screwed up. So I'm going to scroll up and see how many of those member comments I can get to, but this back end is bugged out. It shows me only the last two. So just know that my thing, okay, it's scrolling up now. Just know that it's going to be a bad, it's not going to be the way I want it to be. And I apologize for that. Lloyd, been around for 22 months. Being the NERM. Well, thank you. By the way, I wanted to say, I think I just saw on our back-end system that we're at least trialing someone who is a NERM to work in the warehouse. So if you guys saw that post in the community membership and on the forum, we've been hiring, I think we're hiring up to 2 people. I'm not quite sure. But one of them has been following us for quite a while. Retail store customer, fellow NERM, which, by the way, that's not a requirement or anything like that. Just mentioning it because I thought it was neat. I think it lends more to, oh, you keep aquariums, you know about the company and all of that. So, my Molly gave birth to 35 fries. How to care for them? Mostly try to remove any big fish in there that are eating. So if there's, you know, if you've got mollies and then let's say, it's probably not a brackish tank. I was going to name a brackish fish, but let's say you've got serpe tetras or something, you know, because I have no idea what your tank is, but they might be sniping off some of the fry. So, you know, if you can remove them or remove the fry, and then just lots of small foods. You can crumple up flake. You could do like a Aquariumcoop fry food. You could do almost anything really, but making sure that you're feeding enough to get them a decent amount of food, they'll grow up and as they outsize the mouths of the predators, should be okay. That being said, out of 35 fry, unless you're trying to set up a farm, I would say you probably want like 3 or 4 to make it because you have 35 this batch, next week or next month you have 35 more. You get overrun really quick. Oh, I don't think I showed anybody yet, but I have my braces. I got Aquariumcoop green, whatever rubbery things are. The person looked at me like I was crazy for getting green. In my opinion, is a 20 long big enough for a single pearl scale goldfish? No. It's one of those things that like, could it be done? Anything can be done. That's the reality. But in my opinion, is it is it the right move? No. Is there a better option? Yes. I you have to pick an arbitrary number, and if I'm going to pick an arbitrary number, I say like a 29 gallon is the minimum that most people start to have success long term. Now, realize I said most people, realize I said long term, and realize there's going to be unicorns. Well, my grandma had one for 72 years in a 5.5 gallon tank, and she water changed that thing 16 times a day. Yes, but that also is not most people, right? So I think you have to analyze skills, and for me personally, whenever someone is asking, do you think this will be okay? There's already something in your headspace that goes, you know what, I kind of know this isn't the right move. I should probably just go with the other bigger setup, or maybe you already have it set up and you want to put that fish and go, maybe I should just do other fish and not the goldfish. You know, it's a lot of opinion seeking is actually validation seeking of, you know, well, if I can find a bunch of other people that say it's going to be fine, I now have the validation I need to go forward with it. And that's what makes pet stores so dangerous is, you know, if you walk into my store and we tell you, yeah, it's going to be fine, buy this $50 pearl scale goldfish, we make the $50. You're not getting an unbiased opinion. right now, I've got nothing to gain from you, so I'm telling you not to do it. And I would hope that most times we would do that same call in the store, but that call is right on that line. I wouldn't fault an employee for saying, I sized up this customer. I think they had this skill set. I thought they'd be okay in a 20 long. You also find all the time that customers will say like, well, don't worry, it's only for a month. Then I get paid. Then I'm buying a 17,000 gallon aquarium, and it'll be, um, you know, good. I'm getting messages because like I've gotten 7 messages since I've been live. This one's from Robert. Let me see what he says. Robert said he went back to the store to help cover, so they might be able to do an unboxing. You guys probably don't know this yet, but Robert actually got a promotion, and he is the warehouse manager now. He's splitting his time between both as we transition. But soon you'll see him more in uh, some warehouse related videos, I guess. It actually will. Well, I don't. It makes it easier because he can oversee the plants that come in because he's been doing. Robert's actually our longest term employee, so he's been he's one of the few employees that have worked with me one on one in the retail store, and then two, he's seen of plant shipments, right? He's like, oh, I've seen 1,000 of them, right? And so he can know quality of plants they come in, what might be going wrong, what farm did they come from, what are they known to have a problem with. And so I actually think over time our plant quality will tweak up just a little bit. And I know Robert is a little more of a stickler like I am. And so like today I saw we took out 72 Anubias nana petites for quality assurance issues. That could be melting, could be brown leaf, could be not up to size, could be shipment came in. Well, let's see. Today is Wednesday, so we had a shipment yesterday. Could be that yeah, they come in small. Sometimes we demand like a Nubius Nana Petite, right? What another store would get is one little clump. We actually make them do 3 clumps and pay more because that's what we consider to be the right size. And so sometimes they don't get prepped correctly and they send us ones that are all like just one little clump that another store would sell or another online retailer, and then we have to figure out what we're going to do with them. And usually they go to the retail store and we kind of put them on sale and let people know like, yeah, they're a little light. I've been attempting to hatch brine shrimp. How important is temperature and light for the hatch rate? Temperature super important. Light could be from important to not important at all. I'm not sure that anyone's really been able to verify. They for sure can hatch without light. Now, verifying, do they hatch a little bit better? Maybe. Is it that little bit more temperature? Maybe. Temperature is important because if it's too cold, sometimes they won't hatch at all. Or it might take not months, days, extra days from the hatch. Might be like, oh, it took 72 hours instead of 24, right? Or 36. So, shooting around that 80-degree mark is pretty good. That being said, a lot of times I'll hatch them at like 74 degrees, and you just got to know, it's going to affect the timeline. I do use a light I want to see what's going on. It's good for me. Back, if we rewind like 20, 30 years, the light was actually a lot of times the heat source. And so back then, the mantra would have been like, of course you got to have a light because that's the heat. But now we've kind of separated that to where a lot of the lights might be LED and don't cast a lot of heat. And so therefore we are worried about heat when you might talk to someone who's now in their 70s and they'll never really mention or address like, oh yeah, you got to heat the room or what's the room heated to or any of that because incandescent bulbs would do that back in the day. But now we have a problem that didn't really exist because lighting has gotten better, but we as humans don't think about, 1 watt of energy is typically 1 watt of heat. And so that 1 watt LED that gives a lot of light is only 1 watt of a heater, right? Whereas that 50 watt or 75 watt incandescent bulb, right, that was this far from the container puts off a lot of heat. That's like a 50 or 75 watt heater for only 2 liters of water, right? That's like crazy powerful, where we might use a 50 watt heater in a 10-gallon aquarium, right? So that's where a lot of this a lot of this hobby is just navigating through the years of information changing, technology changing, and putting things that make sense together. So, Joseph has reached taco status. Well, good job, my friend. What would I suggest feeding your young dragon gobies to help them grow and fatten up? Their heads are about as big as the end of my thumb. Uh, for me, I would probably be feeding a lot of frozen brine shrimp and bloodworms. If you have access to live blackworms and things like that, sure. Corvus, if he's still listening. Let's see, Wednesday, he's probably working on the store expansion at the moment. He's on his lunch break. Awesome. I can't believe I've already been a member for this long. Time flies when you're having fun. 30 months. Yep. Especially, I think, like flipping back to the videos being boring and stuff like that. Definitely, it has gotten harder to do this with the pandemic. Like traveling's very difficult. Uh, Trying to set things up you're going to do to, are they going to get canceled? Like, I'll give you a good example. Next month, February 19th, I think it is, we have Chris Lukup, the Shrimp King, speaking for the members, right? Now, also next month, we're going to Aquashella. Chris, the Shrimp King, said when we were talking with him and doing the setup for the live stream, they were doing tests, that he's going to try to come to Aquashella. And I was like, oh, sweet, we should totally do something. Had I known you were coming, I would have booked a longer trip. And his response is like, well, I'm only coming if I'm allowed to leave the country. So it's still like, he's one of the people that I like to travel with and go film stuff like in Israel. And we've had these big grandiose trips we wanted to do, but it still comes down to legally, can we even get there, right? Even if we can convince the farm or whoever's in charge to let us come in, we still have to go, could we even get there? What are the odds we get stuck there? What is the implications on quarantining and all of that? And so that means that we have to make a lot of videos, and the longer it goes on, the harder it gets to be like, do we shoot another video here? Is another video at the store? Is there, what else can we do? So I think one, time flies when you're stuck at home, but then two, I think most of us are pretty excited to get back to traveling. I know Jimmy's traveling next month to do another kind of store spotlight. I can say this, by the way, Badfish, is it Badfish Aquatics? Well, Badfish that's in Florida, we've shipped them out some wholesale products. So that's store number 2. So slow and steady here, but that's another store where you'll be able to pick up some of our products. We did that, feature spotlight on them. And the next one that features spotlight to come out will be on Twin City Guppies. They also sell our stuff. We also are planning, I don't know if we've announced that event yet, but do we buy tickets? I don't know. Zenzo will know, but we're also going to do a meet and greet and all of that at that store at Twin City Guppies. I don't know if we have the official announcement yet. Last I saw, we were working out where could everybody go out to eat after the event and handling crowds and what COVID protocols were, and yeah, I think we were thinking January, February, May. It might be May. Thank you, Asaya and Jess, for hanging out. Trying to catch up on some questions here. Get towards the bottom where real time's happening. Any tips on setting up a mini air pump manifold? I've got some bins that need a little water movement, so I figured this would be the best way. Yeah, I think we've done a whole video on it. It's either member only or I don't think it's member only. But Dean and I did one, and we basically took a piece of PVC pipe and used little air valves and figured out how to set it up. And you can copy that and attach that to an air pump. What the good news is, at the end, you just put whatever size, whatever pipe you're using down to like a 1/4 inch type of nipple, and then you can connect, just a normal small air pump, or you can connect larger air pumps if you have it, but you're talking about a mini pump, so, or at least a mini manifold. Will there be a good chance of shipping to Canada in the near future? Yes. As of Monday in the meeting, we have a new app partner we're working with. We're purely waiting on one piece of code to connect the two, and then we can run a lot more tests. And by running a lot more tests, that really just means we can start doing it. And I know we've been saying that for a while, but this this flu season or whatever you want to call it's hit every industry. And so, when they quote something, it's like, well, we didn't know that Bob was going to be out for 2 weeks, and Bob's the only guy that knows this part, and we're waiting on Bob, right? That's kind of what a lot of stuff boils down to. And then you get past Bob's hurdle, and you get to Janice's hurdle of like, oh, well, Janice, yeah, technically she's on vacation right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, well, after that, right? And once we get through those hurdles, I fully expect there to be another speed bump of like, all the software works, but there's this unpredicted thing that we have to solve before we could just go, yep, green light, everybody order all the things. So we're right now we're stuck with Bob, and hopefully there's no Janice afterwards and no speed bump afterwards. But you can't test those parts, you can't do anything with those parts until we get Bob or whatever developers plug in there. All right, scrolling down. Bought new ping pong paddles. Should be here this week. All right, Chad. Truth be told, last night I was Googling a little bit, daydreaming, going, I wonder if there's any table tennis clubs where I live, and the answer was no. But I was like, someday I'll get back to doing that. I've been thinking about inviting Bob over, but he hurt his arm, so I'm waiting for his arm to heal, so that way I can hit it really hard straight back into that arm, break it. Bob's better than me. I'll take any advantage I can get. Man, my chat, like, I do the wheel. I'm scrolling up on this wheel like a madman, and it's doing nothing, and then it'll jump. Just want to say thanks for all the knowledge over the months. Thank you. Oh, yes, and did you hear the new King of the Hill revival? Yes, we are very excited to see a King of the Hill revival. There's the Alamo beer right here. That's about as much alcohol as I drink is a Diet Coke in a fake beer koozie. I was talking to a gamer like on Discord the other day, and they couldn't believe I haven't drank anything since I was like 18 or something. I don't drink at all. Learned early, not for me. Will the fry food work for chiller reservoirs? Yes, definitely should. We feed it a ton. Worked out well for us. Man, there's so many super chats that are just like disappearing. Not super chats, but member chats disappearing into the void. I'm gonna try here. How many clown loaches in a 6x2x2, 180 gallon tank? Would probably get rid of some as they get bigger. So I would tell you to do like a group of 30. Because you're really, like, unless you're getting that really big behavior where it's moving back and forth, I find that I get a little bit bored of them. Well, not bored of them. Once you have that behavior, you always want that behavior because it's so neat. So, and that would be expensive. But as you said, as they get maybe too big for the water change schedule you want to do, it's pretty easy to find new homes for big clown loaches because they're an adored fish. Apistogramma, a pair of them, trifasciata and a 20 long with 10 white clouds. Do I think the apistos need the tank by themselves to spawn? I think they would spawn. I think the problem you're going to run into is apistos like to be kind of 80, 82, and white clouds, it's pretty warm for them. So what I would do, unless you've already got all that set up, in which case you're already there, but if you swapped out those 10 white clouds for some silver hatchetfish, that's a much better pairing because hatchetfish don't prey on the babies down low. Looking to do another puffer breeding colony for my macongs. Palustris are no longer fun. Are there any and all? Are there any slash all the red eyes true freshwater? I think I think they're all freshwater. I think the problem you run into is there's too many different red-eyed puffers sold as just a red-eyed puffer, and so you don't always get the same species. Some of them fairly aggressive, some of them fairly mild. The last talk with Dr. Emmanuel was awesome. I learned a lot. I need to watch that still. Truth be told, what came up? Something. All I know is Zenzo was like, "Yeah, people seem to like that talk," and I was like, "No, I missed it. No." And yeah, I think I might have been sleeping. I had a rough night the night before. Something. All I knew is, oh, I know what it was. It is something so stupid. I came out in the morning, right, to the studio, and my computer had done an automatic update. For the normal person, it's fine. For me, this computer runs my life. And so I go, okay, I got to log back in to Gmail and the website and the forum and YouTube, and so I'm going through all the motions, right? It takes me quite a while when a restart happens, but I forget to bring up um, Google Calendars where I basically run my life. So I'm sitting there and Zenzo messages me. No pop-up ever came up on the screen going, "Hey, club event happening." And so I don't have reminders, or not reminders, but notifications turned on for my own channel because I'm usually the ones sending out the notifications. And so I felt super dumb, and it probably will never happen again just because the odds of my computer wanting to do its own restart on a member video day or live stream day. But I need to go back and watch it because I hear that she was in line with our thinking, like the Med Trio, and I think the takeaway comment that being that, so I'm kind of like most of you in chat right now. I haven't watched the members only video, but I've seen some comments about it. I think that the takeaway comment that makes me want to watch it is she's actually one of us, meaning that she's actually an Aquarist and understands from the Aquarius side and not just a vet person, right? So I'm interested to see what the thought process is on that. If you can think about it, a vet who actually likes fish and knows of the Med Trio and knows a bunch of things, what is their actual take on this? I think it's going to be a very useful perspective, and it could be one of those things that if you're not a member yet, $5 even for just 1 month to watch that is probably one of the better investments you could make, just because you would know so much more on what meds to use, how to use meds, what does a vet think. It's kind of like getting a vet opinion about the medication fish hobby for $5. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to the vet yet, but it's more than $5. So, but it worked out well. I mean, we paid them $500 and give them microphone or a headset and a camera to keep, and so we get to capture some of that top talent and break it down into parcel or a parcel that people can afford, that $5. And every month that goes by, it actually gets to be more of an insane value for people that have never been a member, right? Because at this point, you might have 100 videos to watch for your $5, right? And in 2 years, you'll have 300 videos to watch for your $5. So, what kind of heater fits in the Zis hatchery? I don't know. I believe it to be, there's a couple different little Tetra always on heaters that fit, and like a few more. But the reality is, like, to sit in that thing is pretty difficult. Letting it just be in there, that itself not too difficult. You just put the plug through the top. Have we received any feedback on the new air pumps? We did get some feedback. We had, I think, one. I haven't gone over the latest feedback on Monday about that, but we had one that was rattly in the. Do I have that? Oh, it's way over there. One that was like made a rattle sound, and basically there's a battery inside the compartment. Like, so you take it out because it has a battery, right? Yeah, that's how it runs when there's no power. And the foam wasn't placed in the correct place, so when it vibrated, it sounded like there was something loose. If you took the foam and moved it a little bit, that then kept everything tight and no more vibration. So we're obviously hoping that, oof, we have 5,000 of those. Hopefully that's not a widespread problem. And if it is, or maybe even if it isn't, the next run that we have them done, we're going to be like, use more foam. Because foam is probably one of those things that, like, oh yeah, that of the cost of this air pump, that's 11 cents. Like, how about we go to 20 cents and use twice as much foam and never have a problem? Um, but that's the danger of launching products. Like, we didn't have that problem with any of our samples and all of that. And maybe it's only 1 out of 100, maybe it's 1 out of 20, maybe it's 1 out of 1,000. All of those types of problems you can't know until it hits scale, and that's the scariest thing about launching a product. And you can get really uh, what's the right word there? You can make people really upset or get some really, I guess, unfair reviews. Maybe it's not as unfair, but what I'm trying to get to is the real difference comes when you find out something is wrong. How does the company respond to that? Do they sweep it under the rug and never make a change, which so many companies do, like where we have a fault of an item and it's been that way for 20 years? Or do you make, does the company go, okay, well, we see that's a problem. Here's the temporary fix. And then the next print run we do, we will actually have the mold changed, or we will have this process changed so that that doesn't happen anymore. Because in an aggregate, right? So think of the best way I can think of like this mug, right? If there was, let's say, 1 out of 50 of them, when you put a hot beverage in, the handle fell off. Well, if you sell this mug to 1,000 different merchants, right? How many times are people going to actually leave the review? And then of that, how many would happen at the same merchant? And how would it make it all the way back to the manufacturer? Not very often, unless it's a huge wide-scale problem. Now for us, because we're pretty much the only people that sell it, if we sell 1,000 of them and 1 out of 50 has a problem, right? That means we've got 20 problems, and maybe only 75% of people give us the feedback, right? But then we've got enough feedback to go, okay, well, there's clearly a problem. Can we replicate it? And so, like, our first plan, honestly, is to open up a few boxes of them. So I think 40 come to a box. Maybe we'll open up 80, plug them in. Do they make any sound? Nope, they sound good. And as long as that goes, like, okay, we'll do a couple more. And if this is more like 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of a big number, then we just go, well, we're not going to sit here and open up every single one and try that. But we'll definitely, probably either way, like if there's some more complaints that we get about the vibration from that battery, we'll just, in general, we typically go, how much does it cost to make sure that could never happen? 4 cents? Great, let's do that. Care Aquatics, the free member chat. That's right. If you're a member, you get a free chat every month. I'll be honest in that I'm trying to restructure live streams altogether. Like, you see the thing that shows up when, Sean from Illinois just bought a snail catcher, right? I'm trying to make it so that, 1, I have more fun. 2, I go live more often. 3, we can accomplish some more things. Like, I have a meeting with YouTube and YouTube's partners to do a whole new thing. It's something I tested 2 years ago, and now supposedly it's way better. And so I'm asking to get back into that program and hopefully do some fun stuff. I don't want to ruin it, because half the time when I announce my plans, someone will beat me to the punch and be like, "Dang it, that was my idea," and then I get accused of copying it, which is hilarious. But what tips and advice would you give for breeding gold eye cichlids or golden dwarf Nanocara anomalies? I've never really bred them in a big number. I think I've got them to spawn like once and get some fry. I've had some customers get it going, but for the most part, treat them like an apisto, live baby brine, frozen brine shrimp. that kind of stuff, and they will get going for you. At least that's from the people that I've seen have some success. Yes, I specifically brought up 3-year plus membership badge in my meeting last, I think it was last Wednesday actually, and they said, "Yep, we hear you. It's just." So basically, what they're saying is testing. There we go. I think my headset just turned off because I have no other sound going, so I should probably figure out a way to make sure that doesn't happen. Um, what was I trying to say? The 3-year membership. Yeah, basically what they had said is because we were in the beta program testing it early, most other creators aren't close to 3 years yet. So we're kind of getting penalized by being a first adopter. So maybe when we're hitting year 4, they're gonna be like, "Oh no, all of YouTube's hitting year 3. We better do something about it." Basically, we're a minority and we're getting swept under the rug. I definitely brought up the members being able to watch videos with a dark screen and listen to it. They said, "Yep, it's on the list." You know what I can do. Let's see. I pulled 6 Pseudomilgo luminatus fry from the hatching tank to grow out tank. A week later, there was 5 more fry. My fry had fry. I feel like that's not a thing. Like maybe, did you move any plants? A lot of times, if you move a plant or a mop with them, you'll end up moving eggs when they hatch out. That being said, who knows? What fish is giving you or has given you the most heartburn? Probably goldfish. Like the goldfish in the 800 gallon was constant, like comments from people and worrying that they weren't doing well and all of that. But I did enjoy them a lot. But any fish that's on camera all the time, that's the problem because you're getting, you know, what's a good way to put it? I'm trying to think of a logical thing that everyone just wants to be a backseat fish tank or caretaker. You know, it's kind of like your family telling you how to raise your kids or your dogs or something like that. You just have a bunch of people going, you know what? This, oh, I think this, and like, yeah, I'm on it. Like, and so it kind of sucks some of the fun out of it. That was probably the most heartburn inducing. Any plans on selling Marcia Menuda or Madagascar lace plant? Um, Madagascar lace we would like to bring back on if we can find a good source for it. Um, I would sell Menuda if we could find a good source also. The problem is you have this like convince a farm to do something they don't already do is like pulling teeth. They don't want to do it. They're like, this plant over here I can sell all day long. Why would I bring a new plant? It's not even guaranteed, you know. And so it's a very slow moving industry in that aspect. Do I still recommend the Fluval Prism Light? The Prism is that little like color changing one. It's kind of cool. I don't sell it, but it is kind of cool if you're looking for a light accent. Mm. Am I team peanut or yeah, team Snickers or peanut butter cup at the moment? Lately, well, it's probably 50-50. I for Christmas, my wife got me some uh was it See's candy? What was it? Might have been See's candy. My brain doesn't work. Let's Fran's candy. It was Fran's, and they had some milk chocolate and some dark chocolate peanut butter cups, and they were to die for. That being said, if I'm at a store or a gas station or on the move, I'm gonna grab a Snickers because the Snickers it's a little bit more wieldy, and what I mean by that is you can open it, you can be eating it and drive or do whatever you gotta do. Whereas like the peanut butter cup, no matter what you do, I get a chocolate stain on my shirt every time. So there is that problem I have. How old do Corey Fry need to be before feeding baby Brine and frozen Cyclops? and first bites until then. You can do baby brine like day one. Live baby brine is kind of the key to all fish. There are a few like some discus, depends on the type of brine you're feeding. There are a few that technically are smaller than that, but something like Corridoras should be able to take from day one of when they're eating. Are crip pink flamingos gone forever? Yes. Because if I say, well, we're looking, then people just ask us every week, like, did you find them? Did you find them? The reality is, until we can reliably import from other countries, the ones in the United States suck, and they're not getting better. And we've tried, and we tried, and we tried, and we tried, and we tried, and they're just not that good. So we need them to come in from overseas where they're being grown better at a different farm. And flights from that country are ridiculously difficult. So the reality is, maybe in a year or two. That's probably where we're at. And that being said, everything could get fixed tomorrow, or we find a great source for them. But at the moment, not looking good. I guess people should realize that a live good like a plant or a fish, they're not a guaranteed thing ever. So kind of get while the getting's good. Yeah, you'll see them again in the future, but um, yeah, it's like the Apontigetan, like Madagascar lace bulbs and all the bulb plants. They kind of disappeared for a while because of a typhoon hit where they were pretty much primarily grown. You've got the mothball thing where those mussels have basically wiped them out, and it's probably going to be a few years until they're in production enough to really be available everywhere again. Like they're popping up here and there, but not widespread, and that happens with fish too. And it's a very difficult thing. Like I can definitely, from a consumer part, I can definitely understand when a dry good is out of stock. Like, look, you can store a ton of those and you don't really have detriment, but a live thing, you know, they only live so long, or they get too big, or whatever. But a pencil's a pencil, so I would say with most companies, give more leeway for any kind of live good and less leeway for any kind of dry good. That's what I would say in terms of stock levels. After hatching baby brine shrimp, what is the best way to keep them? Uh, I've never been that successful at keeping them. Like you can strain them and keep them in the thing for like an extra day. Some people have luck putting them in the fridge. I haven't had great luck with that. I feel like they're dead by the next day. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the best storage method is because I haven't had great success. You can freeze them, but that's not going to be live again. For me, it's been straining them, getting the eggs out, and putting them back in the container, let them go for another, until the next day to feed again. I want lily pads in my aquarium. Any tips? Get yourself some dwarf aquarium lily bulbs, and I think you'll get that effect for pretty cheap. What's the best way to plant Val, and how deep should the substrate be? And recommended substrate. Anything but sand is my recommendation, pretty much. And I like substrate to be like a solid 2 inches, enough that you can really. And so I push it all the way down to the bottom, which is going to be too deep, right? Because you're like, oh, the crown of the plant's down here. But then I come back with tweezers and I pull it up so the crown rises above. So what it does is when you put a plant in, let's see, how can I do this? You put a plant in, the roots get dragged up by the substrate. So it goes to the bottom, but the roots now are like up. What you need to have happen is when you come back and now you pull the crown of the plant, it rights the roots so they're more down towards the bottom. So that's why you kind of plant too deep and then pull back up in an aquarium. What happened to all the female antlers? Our area only has males. A lot of times that's just because uh, wholesalers and even the public don't want to buy a lot of the females, and so um, they don't get shipped from the starting country basically. So you make 1 million antlers, you got 500,000 males, and you have 500,000 females. you sell 20 to 1, 20 males to every female in a store. And so it kind of becomes one of those of, does the wholesaler even want females? Not really. Does the store even really want females? Not really. And then it comes down to, oh, well, you know, uh, the hobbyist might want to breed them, but even then they're like, I need 2 females, right? So, but there are lots of people that will come in and buy 20 Antlers and just treat them as very colorful type Tetras. And yeah, so that I think that's what leads to it. Like I've got tons of females because we're breeding them here, but even they don't sell nearly as well as the males. Sand is great. I think sand is terrible. Put me on the record, put it right down next to Corey hates cancer filters of Corey hates sand. I'm not saying it never has an application, but when it comes to plants and sand, I hate it. Now that being said, very coarse sand that's more like a gravel, I do like, but that standard pool filter or play sand or fine sands, I don't like. And out of all the aquariums and tanks I set up in this new fish room, what are the ones I don't like? The ones I put super fine sand in to grow plants and just to show people. Yes, I'm growing them, but I hate those aquariums. Like, there's no joy in like, man, wish I would have done this with substrate I actually enjoy as opposed to doing it for work. So, but it is fun to watch sand sifters sift through it and all of that. But that's not for plants. That's for fish. But again, I don't see the benefits of it. Like I keep a lot of Corridoras, I keep a lot of Earth Eaters, and a coarser sand or even gravel works fine. So um, yeah, I'm not a fan of it. What substrate do I have in the 800 gallon? I have the zero point 0.8 lapis luster, kind of basically um, the coarse sand, which I realize is an oxymoron after just saying how much I hate sand. It's fine sands. If you were to, what most people consider a sand is not what's in there. They consider that like a small gravel. Um, and if I couldn't get that, let's say I couldn't get that, I would put gravel before I would put sand. No doubt. No doubt about it. Aquarium waters turn green. I'm guilty. Fertilize and light too much. Is UV sterilizer the only remedy? It's not the only remedy. It's the one I prefer. Technically, you can black out the aquarium, put like a big towel or a blanket over it, leave the light off, and after about a week, that usually will get it. Sometimes you got to go a little longer. Do know it's a little bit rough on the plants sometimes. Other than that, UV sterilizer, that's the one I prefer. It can usually, a good UV sterilizer will get it within 24 hours, maybe 48 if it's really a big tank and you're running, yeah, big tank and you had a really bad case to start with. Oh man, my thing's all broken. Let me go on record. The core influenced me to hide my stream, and here he's wearing a headset. Yep, I made that decision. So there's two part. One, I've always had my mics, not always, but for a long time I've had my mics off screen, and I do believe that is the best way to film a video. However, this whole headset thing, I'm actually trying to downplay and be more of like just another guy doing a live stream low key, right? So the difference might be, if you watch podcasts, some people will dress up in a suit and all that to interview their guests, and then some people are just wearing everyday normal clothes, and that sets the tone of what a conversation will be like or what the expectations are. And being that I want the live streams to be less about being more of a high-end presentation and more of a hangout, let's see where this goes, that affords me the comfortability. That's right. Ooh, Matt at the store just bought some blue shrimp. But it offers me the comfort to just rock a headset and make things easy. And, like the fact that I can walk over. Part of the plan is the show is it's gonna be mobile, so that I can take the camera and the microphone around and go look at tanks and show things and set it on a tripod and go, look, this is the substrate. Look, this is what's going on here. Look, you see this plant? This is how you plant one. All of that kind of stuff. And so part of that is going to be this style where, don't get me wrong, I mean, there's thousands of dollars worth of sound equipment right here that will do that also, but it's a lot harder for people uh, to use and make sure it's charged up. So I do think definitely for recorded videos, mic off camera, one-on-one kind of presentation style is the way to go. And this, I'm trying to, bring down the production level to more of a live stream instead of more of a show. Do I have any plans on using the new 60 breeders in the fish room? I don't. For those of you that don't know, and I'm just aware of it recently, is that there's a new size tank that I hadn't seen before. Steamfight Aquatics actually showed it to me, and that was they took a 75 and they made it a little bit more shallow, and now it's a 60 gallon. Pretty cool. I think it'd be very similar to my 40 breeders, except they're 1 foot longer. So I don't think there's a big benefit to me going, well, instead of 10 40 breeders, I now have 6 60s. Like, they pretty much do the same thing. Yeah, the Odessa barbs are an amazing fish. They're voracious though. They chase ladybird's tail a little bit. Not doing it right now, but if they were easier to catch, I might set up a different tank and put a different fish in there. I need to get a bigger auto feeder going. That's what I need to do. And I want to get it, so the auto feeder right now is set right there where I feed ladybird. I want to put it on the other end, so right now they all want food. And if the rosy barbs hung out on the other side, it'd be less, I don't know about stress, but less crowded around ladybird. So I just need to find it. I have a bunch of these bigger feeders that are like $150 feeders, and they're either in my garage or they're in a shed when I moved. I just don't know where they are, and it's on my to-do list though. Isn't there trouble manufacturing tanks right now? I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't be shocked. I know getting glass is difficult, but I don't know. Um, I've been seeing some pictures come out about I guess it's a 1450 gallon tank. That's what the manufacturer's calling it. 1450 gallon is the new Murphy tank, and the pictures are pretty cool. And so it's in production right now. The stand is in production. It's a very kind of laborious build. But yeah, last I heard glass was hard to get. We're making out of acrylic, which acrylic's hard to get to, but so I don't know what the tank scarcity is on the whole at the moment. I just know that even the port stuff has hit us. Here we are, January 19th. The original offload date of our container was December 2nd, right? And every day it's just like, yep, maybe tomorrow. Yep, maybe tomorrow. So we got a lot of products sitting on there, and it makes it hard. We're super glad that we stock extra levels of stuff. Um, you know, we haven't run out of many things, which is good that we supply. But the problem is, when someone tells you like, yeah, maybe tomorrow, you go, okay, yeah, I'll keep tomorrow open, right? And then after a week, you're like, ooh, yeah, I don't know. They say maybe tomorrow a lot. And then after a month, right? So now it's like, well, how long is this going to take? So we're hesitant to launch more wholesale accounts and bigger orders and things like that. Of like, well, we only have 1,000 of these, and if we get that thing this month, we'll be fine. But if we don't, we're going to run out. What's the best online breeders to order Mollies and Platies from? For the Mollies, what was that store we did? Or not store. Summerland Farm out of Florida. They had the best Mollies I've seen. Biggest anyway. It depends on if you're looking for color or big or whatever. That one or Charles Clapsaddle. I don't know if they have anything for sale though at the moment. In terms of Platies, I don't know where to look. Aquabid, but Aquabid's been so light lately. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where I would really hunt for good Platies at the moment. Is it bad that sometimes I get so involved in the coop chat that I forget Corey's talking? No, that's exactly what I want to happen. You know, if you look at lots of big streamers and stuff, it's more about fostering community and all of that. Like, yes, there needs to be someone to fill in when maybe chat's not lively or to set the tone or to set the next topic or whatever that's going to be. But, you know, again, if we go back to our baseball analogy or football analogy or whatever, I don't know why this thing is acting weird today. Maybe, well, no, I wasn't plugged in the other day. I'll plug in and see if it stays. Uh, anyway, go back to those analogies. It might be like you're having a party to watch a game and everyone's chatting and whatever, and on the TV, yes, the game is happening and you're excited by highlights and who's going to win and the overall thing, but it's more about the getting together, the food, the camaraderie, the chat, and the game itself is the catalyst for that and not necessarily the people don't, not everyone just sits there in silence watching, right? Because you could do that from home. So I hope that that becomes more of the norm of like, oh man, I was chatting and having so much fun in the live stream. I wasn't really paying attention, and so, um, and so now I could go watch the thing to actually watch what it's for. Summerlin's been sold. It's been sold a couple of times. If you watch the video, you'll know that the original owner sold it in 2013, and they bought it back last year. Man, that'd be kind of fun to do. Like a, we'll chalk that up to the Zenzo idea list. A Find a way to make like the sports bar experience for a live stream. Rent out like a taco truck or something. People sit and chat, eat tacos, live streams on in the background. What is the best temperature to breed Antlers at to produce mostly male fry? I don't think anybody will know that, Robert. I don't think that's something that's really been documented, or if it even happens. Banana plant thoughts? Yes, I have thoughts. What can cause a cancer filter to leak? Sometimes stress fractures in the plastic, or the most common thing is what's called an O-ring or the rubber ring around maybe the lid or a different component. You know, maybe it's one of the hose quick disconnects, but basically these O-rings, they can get cracks or microfractures in them, or they get dry and brittle. What you're looking for is like some silicone grease or lube that they sell for either that, or you can look it up and find your own. But by lubing them and keeping them from cracking, it will it will ensure longevity basically. Otherwise, sorry. Otherwise, you can buy usually a new O-ring kit depending on the type of cancer filter if that's the culprit. Could be some other leaks, could be a crack in the housing, could be installed wrong. There's stuff, but most often it has to do with an O-ring. Just sell gift cards for Taco Bell. I mean, I would still take a Taco Bell sponsorship, but man, I feel like they really Taco Bell. I can't remember the last time I went to eat Taco Bell because each time it's such a letdown from what Taco Bell was in its heyday. Back when I was like 5, Taco Bell's amazing. When I was like 18, it was like okay, and now that I'm 38, it's just pretty bad. And the quality has gotten worse. It's not like I've just gotten old and I'm like, oh, I'm more refined. Like, no, it's just straight up getting worse. Do I have a bib? I do. When I eat Reese's peanut butter cups, my wife makes me put on this little towel because I'm always like working and just eating, and pretty soon I'll be like, oh man, I got taco grease on my shirt. That's when you're old. When the wife hands you a towel and like, look, I'm tired of cleaning the stains off your shirts. Put a towel on there. I should get a big old like Murphy one. What are my thoughts on Lucky Bamboo out of the top of the aquarium? I love it. In some older videos, you probably could find my turtle tank where I did that kind of a setup. The bamboo forest um, is a cool tank idea. It's been done a lot and it's always enjoyable. I recommend everyone keep a little bit of Lucky Bamboo, um, just because it goes so well in the back of a hang-on back, or growing out of a small tank, or you can do like I've done with the mangroves and just let it grow taller as it kind of hangs, and eventually it'll be at the bottom. The wings at Taco Bell are trash. I believe it. I'm not even that big of a wing dude anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather go with the chicken nuggies than a wing. It's just more efficient. If I had to choose one Faca 160 or 5 spotted Congos, I do a Faca puffer, no doubt. Someone sent Corey a Murphy bib. That's right. How many Powerheads do I buy for your sponge filter to a 75-gallon tank? Uh, if you're going to use Powerheads, which I personally wouldn't, but if you were going to, I would use 2, and I would have like probably what I would do. It depends on the load, but I'd probably just do 1 sponge filter, kind of each corner or 1/3, with a power head on it, and that would probably get you doing what you need to do. You could double stack them, but that's too much work when it comes to cleaning them. Can you use a canister filter without drilling your aquarium? Yes. Also, will the bigger canister hold more beneficial bacteria because of media, and does that mean I can keep more fish? Maybe. So, bigger canister does hold more beneficial bacteria. That's a true statement. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to keep more fish. Because just because you convert ammonia into nitrates doesn't mean you would have enough space, or doesn't mean that you'd have enough water change schedule and all that. Basically, you should size fish load and all that to the size of your aquarium and what you can do, and not so much filtration. Filtration, think of it like it's a garbage can. If I have a giant garbage can, does that mean I don't have to clean my house as much? No. It just means it can hold way more garbage, but you still got to clean the same amount. That's kind of the problem. And people think, I have this giant garbage can. Well, the giant garbage can doesn't actually do the cleaning of your house. It's just a repository for it. Holds it till you take it out. And that's basically what most canister filters do. And in fact, the video you'll see on Sunday, you're going to see a really nasty FX5 or FX6, I guess it is now, from the 800 gallon that was fully caked full of muck, and it collected all the garbage it was going to collect, and that's why the water was not clearing up as much. I clean it, I put it back on, and I address the fact that all the bacteria is actually on decorations, plants, the gravel, the sides of the tank, and in that canister it had gotten so dirty that I don't believe any bacteria was left in there. That being said, I use it as a garbage can and not as a filter, because the whole aquarium is usually the filter. Lucky Bamboo is toxic? Not to any fish that I know of. It could be to like, cats, dogs, antelope, aardvarks. I don't have any experience with that so much, but as far as fish goes, I've never had any adverse reactions. Has my experience or observations from going to the Amazon changed how I keep fish? Yeah, it's had some influence, but I already was kind of a natural, fish will figure it out type of dude. But seeing it in person was much more like, yeah, they'll figure it out. These things are tough. Like, the conditions they live in is way different than what we keep them in. My shrimp in my 9-month-old tank are suddenly dying. Fish like the lamp Achilles and nanorasboras are doing totally fine. Pretty open-ended question. You'd want to look at how often are you changing water. A lot of times it's too often. You'd want to make sure that there's enough like micro food going on, maybe a piece of driftwood in there, there's plants, there's some algae. Those things are much more important and usually the cause for success or failure than water changes, food you're putting in the aquarium, like those types of things. I just purchased extreme food for my fish. I'm not sure if they're loving it, but I will feed it with their other food and see if they will take to it. Yeah, it's I really like the krill flake, the nano pellet. I feed some of the other ones. My turtle really loves the extreme uh, wafers, the algae wafer, but whenever you switch foods, usually you don't get that immediate like, oh my god, that's amazing. You do when you go from dry to frozen. You typically do when you go from random food to like that krill flake because krill's expensive and it tastes good and it smells good and all of that. But most other foods, if you're going like from cheeseburger to like, I'm trying to think of something that's kind of on the same level as a cheeseburger that might make sense, like from cheeseburger to chicken sandwich. Like it's kind of I'll take it or leave it out of the way, right? But obviously like cheeseburger to steak, oh well, we're gonna go after steak, right? Should I remove Purigen if I'm using General Cure? Yes, you would. I want to talk about Extreme a little bit, which probably makes them nervous every time I open my mouth about them. One of the things I do love about Extreme is that whenever I say something about them, I will usually get a follow-up email setting me straight. And so one time, last live stream, people were asking me what I recommended to feed some wood-eating catfish. And I had mentioned Sarah and Rapashi, and Andy emailed me and said, hey, why didn't you recommend us? And I said, oh, well, I wanted to recommend foods that had wood in it. And he goes, well, our algae wafers have wood in it. We have stinging nettle. And I said, oh, well, I just assumed it was the leaves. And he goes, no, it's the whole plant. And it's something like, and he broke down tons of stuff. So I'm paraphrasing a lot here. And he says 5% of the formula is kind of the whole stinging nettle plant, if you will. And all that fiber is what the Plecos need. And he went on to explain that they tested much more and they tested less and all that on the farm. And what they had found is that bottom feeders in general, whether they were Plecos or not, really seemed to appreciate that 5% kind of more fibrous material in the diet. And I said, oh, well, that was super interesting. And I didn't know that. And me as an educator and as someone selling the product, I always feel bad when I don't know something, but I always want to set the record straight and bring that up next time I think of it, because if I don't know it, I feel like most people wouldn't know it because I try to clue in on most of those things. And so I've actually been, now that I knew that fact, I've actually been feeding it more because I like foods to have more fibrous material in it because that keeps the fish more regular and all of that. And so I actually need to order myself some more because I've been feeding it more liberally. But I did want to, for anyone that was asking that question last time, wanted to let you know that, yeah, it does have wood fiber in it. And yeah, it's all good. So that's what I know. I think Lisa might be asking for something. I'm not sure. My dwarf Sag, came in super good. Any tips? Just split it up out of the pot, plant it too deep, pull it back up so that the crown is above the substrate. Maybe give it a couple of root tabs, put some easy green in there, and give it time. That's a lot of what it comes down to. Minimum GH for guppies. The minimum I've had success with is about 75 parts per million. Let's see if I can find Lisa's comment. It's super hard. I apologize. Best setup to breed L134s. I'd probably go with a 40 breeder. So that's a leopard frog pleco. Lots of little caves. Maybe get a little pump blowing across the bottom. But mostly it's a time thing. Get enough time on the fish that are mature. Maybe it won't work because I made the text bigger because I'm old. Let's see if I Does that work better? No, it's still buggy. All right. Made it hard to read and did not fix my problem. Going bigger. Any tips to deal with filamentous diatom allergies? Obviously fixing a balance, that's a long road to go down. Research what you need to do there, but I would recommend getting some flagfish or some Siamese alligators to be working on that for you. I managed to thrive on ramen and peanut butter and jelly and even breed. I haven't had a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a long time. Whenever I eat them, though, I'm kind of like, meh, but every once in a while, it's amazing. Oh, I think I found Lisa's question. L177 or L018. Oh man, Baryanthistris xanthillus would be my holy grail fish to breed, but I couldn't find anyone who had it. Do you know of anyone who has it that I could talk to about it? Nope. There are tons of those plecos and things that, kind of get documented. Maybe they'll be in Japan or Germany, but they can be very hard to track down. And, I've had stuff like, it took me like 10 years to get LDA-08s, the dwarf claro pleco. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have those holy grail fish, and every once in a while they will show up. So, but no, I don't know anyone that like, oh yeah, you're gonna be able to grab them here. It's gonna be easy. Usually when you find like, I don't know anybody that's ever had them, they're not gonna be easy to get at all. What are my thoughts on feeding discus beef heart? Is it good long term or unnatural? Everything we do in the hobby is unnatural. So I like to put that out there of like, the fact you're keeping it in a glass box, that's not natural. So, but I do think you have a valid question, is it good long term or not? I think we've seen plenty of discus do pretty well long term on beef heart. So I couldn't say, ooh, I wouldn't do that. Or I could say that because I actually don't feed beef heart, but I wouldn't dissuade someone if they were having good success. I'd be like, cool, great, keep doing it. That being said, I find that beef heart products in the aquarium hobby have never been well accepted by fish when I've tried to feed them. So in general, I don't. But I know lots of breeders do, and it used to be very cheap, and there's sometimes things spawn out of cheap availability, all of those things, and just works. Now, is that the best? Probably not. If it's the best, it's probably live food all the time, but we can't do that. So if your discus are eating beef heart and they're doing well, keep doing it. If they're not eating beef heart and don't want to seem to eat it, feed them something else. I think the problem we run into all the time is how many of us can even do a long-term study? Like, well, how long should the discus live? How long can you remain as an independent control source, feeding the same amount of food, like 2% of their body weight every day for 12 years straight, never missing a water change, never having a power outage, never introducing another fish, never introducing X, Y, and Z to actually get a control? That's nearly impossible. So we end up going with, well, I had a bunch of fish for this long and it worked well for me. I had a bunch of fish for this long and that didn't work for me. And then we just go, oh, must be, I don't know. And that's where I think we get to on most of these things is the reality is we'll never know factually. It'll be a lot of independent variables, independent opinions, and we have to take those and add it up for ourselves and make a determination. Oh, gold nugget plecos is what they were, is what Alyssa Bentley was saying. Yeah, those shouldn't be too hard to track down. There are a few different ones that get sold as gold nuggets, but yeah. Can you have too much flow? I've got a 22 long, or maybe 22 liter. On the far side, I feel it could use more circulation. I like air stones because it improves circulation and isn't too turbulent. you can have so much flow in a tank that fish have no places to rest, and I think that's problematic, but it also depends on the type of fish. Something like the pink-tailed Chelseus in the turtle tank, they love lots of flow, but they still at some point are going to want to get out of that flow. So if you just have a bunch of flow in the front of the tank, they can go to the back. But I like air stones in terms of just moving stuff around. Is Planaria only a problem to shrimp? I have plants in the tank, and it has Planaria in a tank that has Planaria, and that I want to move to a tank with shrimp. I don't want to put any of my shrimp at risk. I myself have never had a problem with Planaria in any of my tanks. What I mean by that is I have had plenty of Planaria. I've never seen any detrimental, deaths or anything like that because of Planaria. So I myself don't fear moving some Planaria around. That being said, if you wanted to try and fight that Planaria off, use yourself some Expel P from Fritz. That will kill it. At least in our testing it did. If I leave my Aquariumcoop brine shrimp eggs, where'd that go? If I leave my aquarium brine shrimp eggs out overnight, it'll be fine. I leave my eggs out every day, and so do most fish keepers. Not all, but most. They do that anyway. So let's see if I can get like the lowest level of something to make it so I won't lose sound. Where could I go? I'm trying to think of something that'll play a little bit of sound, or at least keep this engaged. I don't know the answer. Oh wait, maybe down here. Huh. Anyway, hopefully sound's still going. It is. Pump on the Easy Green broke. What's the dosage? 1 milliliter per 10 gallons. You can probably reach out to us and get another one if it came broken. If not, I get myself in trouble when I'm like, just buy another one. And I always forget that since I'm the manufacturer, that sounds greedy. But I would tell someone else like, oh, your pump head broke on a thing? Buy another one. You'll use it up anyway. That's what I would tell you, but it seems greedy since I'm the manufacturer of it. But yeah, if it came to you broken, definitely will send you out another one. Otherwise, just buy another one, or get a little pipette. That'll do it too. Highly recommend a membership. Really enjoying mine. Makes me feel part of the team. Well, glad you feel that way. We definitely have had people feel the opposite. I don't want it to, only seem like it's, peanut butter cups and rainbows over here, but, we're a good little spot to hang out, and, over time it'll continually get better. I think at some point it'll be so good that most people want to be a part of it. We'll find ways to reward early adopters and all of those types of things. But I want to show you guys like what the some of the designs on the new shirts and hoodies and stuff, but we're saving it until it's actually a real thing. I also want to find a way to sell some member only merch. So step 1 was getting you guys to sync up the account. Step 2 is putting some things for sale behind for members only. So it could be one thing we're thinking about is a scratch and dent type of, a box gets returned or we open it up and so sometimes we'll open up a box of like 80 sponge filters, right? But it got dropped on a corner at some point. So that one sponge filter in the corner has a crushed box. Normally we put that at the retail store, but we're thinking about, well, if we put that in a different section, people could order online and save like 20%. And literally the only thing is different is the box. The box is crushed. But the general public, when we send that out, they will cry wolf of like, I got a defective product. It's like, nah, it's got a crumpled box. It literally doesn't affect it at all. But, I think if we can find a way to list that in a scratch and dent type of category on the website, and you guys know that's what you would expect, you pay less, and that would be a member perk, So instead of saving 5% on everything, you save 20% on that or something. I think that would be a cool thing. Also, we get returns where, sometimes like at the store or people buy them even, they'll buy a light, like a 36-inch light, they'll put it on their 20 long and go, wait a second, it's too long, not realizing, oh, it's 30 inches, not 36. So then they return it to us, we refund their money, and then we've got this open box light that anyone that pays full price would be angry to get, but we normally just sell them at a discount at the retail store. But sometimes they build up. Like we've got some dented boxes of like linear air piston pumps, and we probably have like 3 of them sitting at the store. It takes a long time to sell that expensive of a fish room air pump with a dented box. So I want to add coarse sand over the top of an established pebble substrate in a Bloody Mary shrimp tank. Should I gravel vac and rescape it, or just put the coarse sand and let it go? I would just replace the substrate. Usually, whatever is heavier is going to settle to the bottom. And in general, mixed substrates, when you when you want them to like stay stratified, like pretty much never do and look terrible. Now, if you can put, really mix them up and make them look good, that's one thing. But I'm just not a fan of that look. Welcome, Tracy, to the membership team. Jennifer in Minnesota just bought Easy Fry and a worm cone feeder. Wow. And some of the extreme bottom wafers. All right. Can I tell you any substantial differences between co-op root tabs, API root tabs, and Flourish root tabs? I own all 3. Uh, the biggest difference would be ours is mostly derived from dirt with things added to it, so it's got a longer staying power. Whereas API and Flourish are basically manufactured by the devil. No, that's not true, but I don't like those companies very much. But all root tabs, to be honest, I haven't seen that large of a difference. So the fact that you own all 3, I would say don't buy anyone's root tabs until you used up all 3 of those brands. And then you can choose to buy whichever one you want. Obviously, I'm partial to the ones we make. It's obvious, but I do like the fact that they have some dirt in there and they have a little bit longer staying power, in my opinion. But for many, many, many years, I used the Flourish ones, and they worked great. The API root tab ones, I don't have as extensive of usage of them. I only ever used them when I kind of got them very cheap at the local club or something like that, and they seem to work, but they never seem to be like the cheapest or best bang for the buck, or I just never had a reason to actually purchase them at a full price. And being that API tries to screw small businesses as much as they can, I'm pretty anti-API at this point. How often do we get red wolffish? I want one. Almost never. The last wolffish we got, we bring back from Peru from catching them wild, but they're mostly rainbows. But they should be available in the course of a year. Um, in the course of a year, usually a fish store would have access to some. Can I request a dented box product? Also, can I pay extra to get an autograph? I've considered some autographed products behind the member portal, like they could buy, but no, there's no way to like request a product and then get it signed, because that would get out of control very quickly. Of like, why did my order get delayed by 6 days? Corey was busy. He didn't have time to come sign it. That type of stuff. I have thought about a live stream similar to like what Mr. Beast will do, where they're live and every shirt or hoodie bought during while you're live gets signed like on camera while I'm live. I thought about doing something like that, but just need logistics and get me and Jimmy to be the camera guy and to film and make sure we put on a good enough show to justify it. Hmm. Good Tetras species. Wait, good Tetra species reconditioned with the Severum in a 120. Thinking of red and blue Tetras. Recondition. Maybe to redo a tank. The Colombian red and blue Tetra are pretty cool. They get decently big when they grow out. I like those a lot. I really like a big school of Pristilla Tetras. You don't see that very often. Black Phantom Tetras. There's so many Tetras that don't get done in big schools. Like when's the last time you saw someone have a school of like 70 black skirt Tetras? Like never, right? But you see them all the time in Petco's, PetSmarts, and you'll see like pictures online where people have a community tank and they'll have two, right? But you never really see like, wow, someone really liked these and they set up a dedicated school, and that's actually amazing. Most schooling fish look better when there's a big group of them like that. I have no tips for top hat blennies as I've never kept one. Sorry. You could do a merch signing during an episode of Cooking with Dean. Could be. The problem is like the world is just a whirlwind of everyone getting exposed to COVID or sickness or whatever. And so like it's getting harder and harder to line up people that are all healthy at the same time to make these things happen. You know, especially with the holidays and all of that, and no one really wants to get sick. Like, you know, people do focus on like, oh, well, I don't want to get COVID. True, I don't want COVID. I also just don't want to get a cold or the average flu either. Like, you know, rewind 3 years ago, I avoided people when they were sick because I don't want to get sick. I don't like having the flu. I don't like having a cold because if I lose a week because I've got one of those, I'm not live streaming. I'm not making videos. So it actually caused a huge rift in my work schedule. So much so that, you know, things that my wife wants to do, I'm having to say no to because I don't want a chance getting sick. So, like there was a concert or something, I don't know, a symphony or whatever it was that we were considering going to, but it was like the week before Aquashell, and I go, it's not worth it to me, even if the odds are low. If I get sick in the current climate, I might not be able to go Aquashell, and there's people buying tickets and, you know, plane tickets and microphones and all of those things to go to this. And if all of a sudden I have to call out because I have COVID or I'm sick and I can't prove that I don't or whatever, I don't want that. So, you know, I need to book on either end of it of like, and when I come back, I could get sick technically from an Aquashell or something, right? And so I can't instantly go back to hanging out with people and doing things so yeah, it just, you know, 3 years ago we would have done an event back to back, go do another event, go do another thing, and film a lot more and do all these things. And now we're having to build in almost like these, you know, lulls to make sure we're not just passing illness around everywhere. And, you know, because the places we go, they don't want that either. You don't want to be, I got to work on the fish farm and everything's going. Now I'm down for a week and all my fish don't get fed and sales don't get done and all of that. So a lot to think about. Can I keep 2 Oscars and a Saratoga together in a 100-gallon? I'm not even sure what a Saratoga is. Let me see if I can Google that. It's not every day I don't know what something is. I'm guessing it's a cichlid. Saratoga cichlid. Nope, that's an arowana apparently. Saratoga or arowana. Saratoga lichardi. All right. I had never heard it called that before. Interesting. So the question was 100-gallon with 2 Oscars. So the problem I would say is that the 100-gallon's not really an ideal tank size for an arowana or lichardi anyway. So I would say not a great idea. Just do autographed thank you cards? Yeah, I don't know. I do sign stuff at events sometimes, but I don't. I have this comp for myself 10,000 times and selling it or giving it away or whatever. That just seems inauthentic in every way. So like when I sign T-shirts, I try to customize them to make each one unique and individual to like the person or whatever, right? And my brain tells me I should be trying to do something similar if we're ever going to do some kind of signing or make it meaningful and not just generic. So, do we have a water bill at my store for how many gallons of water we use? Yeah, we do track it. Oh, my mic's cutting in and out? Well, that's not good at all. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's probably something horrible. Nothing ever works easy. It's like it to be easy, and even this is not being easy anymore. Is it not weird that people collect autographs? See, I try to think about that kind of stuff, and so there's definitely autographs I think I would enjoy having. I don't know exactly who, but I think mostly when I think of an autograph, I wouldn't. So like, I don't think I would go on eBay and purchase an autograph. However, if I could get an autograph from someone when I met them, and let's say I hung out with them and whatever, that's something different. And now I'm remembering that. So that's what I guess that's what I'd be trying to cultivate. It's like, well, how do we do more of that and less of like someone's buying just an autograph print? So I have 10 Apoma in a 20 gallon, but I have a 40 gallon ready when they get bigger. Planning on a custom 55 being built. What's the smallest tank it could go in for 10 Apoma? Probably that 55. The fish get like this big, and it's doable, but it depends on how many you have. And they like to be kind of an ambush predator in a school. Yeah, 55 long term is about the minimum. I mean, maybe even 75. It's hard to. It's always hard to put that minimum baseline there. Can I keep 2 Apisto pairs and 4 pandas and 20 long? It could be done with enough line of sight blocks and keeping them opposite corners, but it could also be just a tornado in there of death. My wife met Joe Kenda off Homicide Hunter once, and that's her favorite autograph. I do not know that show. But I do. I realize there's an intrinsic value to that, and yeah, I just don't. I guess what it really boils down to is I don't want to do it so that like, oh, we could print pictures and you could sell them for $5 a piece, and you just got to sign them. Not interested in that at all. But meeting someone who's a very big fan, and and please don't send a bunch more of these because they are hard on making it work, but sometimes we'll do something when it's like someone's birthday and they've really gone through a bunch, and they send us like a picture to sign and a self-addressed stamped envelope to send it back and the pen and all of this, and we'll get that done and get it sent back. Because I'm like, oh, they're really going to appreciate that. I happen to be here at the time. But there's also times when people send that stuff and it's like, I'm just so busy, I'm not even in the country or whatever, and oh man, it's past the date. So yeah, I just want to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons and not just straight up money. Which is probably the mantra of my whole business. Do it for the right reason, and then find a way that it makes us money, and not find ways to make us money, and then hopefully it's not bad. I mean, the most basic example I can put towards that is we don't allow super chats. Super chats, they average like $500 an hour when we turn them on. I'll do a test. We got 10 more minutes left. I'll turn super chats on, and I definitely encourage you, instead of super chatting, just become a member because you get benefits from it. But the super chat thing, normally we always have it off. I don't even know if I can turn it on. It's too much work. I'm not even gonna turn it on. Because it's just it generates lots of money, but it changes the feel of the live stream. It highlights that instead of the hanging out. And so I don't like that feeling. It was fine when we were smaller and we really needed the money to help buy us a camera and those things. But however, um, now we're not at that point anymore. And so, and I don't fault anyone who does that, by the way. I'm just saying we're in a different space now than we were 5 years ago. And so, and I send super chats, I donate to people, and I do funny super chats and jokes, and I get that scene. So don't think I'm downplaying or attacking anyone, because that's not what I was trying to do at all. I'm trying to highlight the fact that we focus on how do we make something better, build community, make a great product, and all of that, and then let's make sure this also doesn't make us go out of business or make us some money. That'd be good. I'm only sending you a pen for an autograph if you trade me for one of those old school swag pens. I don't even think we have any. Wait, I do have one, I think. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Look through Corey's pen thing. I have a unused plastic spoon. I have a Logitech microphone plug-in thing to a headset. A pair of scissors that have no doubt been stolen from my wife. I have a Aquariumcoop pen that's laser engraved. Those we gave out for quite a while. I have a flashlight for when I go camping and stuff. Apparently it's in here. A gel pen, which I do love gel pens, kind of my favorite. I have the pen from when we signed to buy this place. This pen totally doesn't work. Great example, by the way. This is a great example. You spend hundreds of thousands of dollars buying a home, and you pay like a title company. I don't even know how much money they get. It's enough to afford a better pen, but I used this pen twice ever, and it was broken. So, I have a pen that a travel pen from Delta. This little tiny little pen that I'll put in my backpack when I travel. But yes, I do still have one of the co-op pens. It's on my radar to do more swaggy type stuff. We just have to get it to be, it has to be barcoded. Do I need a water change in a fishless cycle? No. Just grow live plants. That's all I gotta do. Do I have a video of tanks in my house? There are no aquariums in our physical house at the moment. I flirt with doing one maybe once a month or something, but I'm like, I just don't have time. And I just don't have time. That's the reality, which sucks. I basically have to give something up to be able to get more personal time, and I don't feel like there's anything I can give up at the moment. Have I seen the new fine sponge filters from PetSmart? Comes with an air stone inside, but cannot be removed like the normal way. Testing it now. I've seen them, but aren't they like $20? I thought they were extraordinarily expensive. I haven't bought one though. It's on my list of I should do, like buy competitor products and just make sure that I don't like them, as opposed to going, it's fine sponge, I don't like that, and $20, I don't like that either. Probably won't like it. Yeah. A long time ago, before people collected autographs, they collected hair from famous people. Now we're talking. I get a haircut tomorrow. Maybe I should have it saved and membership benefit. You get a lock of my hair. Tips on starting an aquarium YouTube channel? Don't. And all I mean by that is there's now there's got to be at least like 10,000 aquarium channels. Every day I could probably find 50 more channels that are very small YouTube fish tuber type channels, and that's the last thing we need. And by we, I mean as a hobby, right? We don't need more of that. So short of you already being a celebrity or having 10,000 gallon aquarium or having something people are going to really tune in, you're probably just going to get frustrated. So my advice would actually be go over to like Facebook and just dominate Facebook aquarium scene. It essentially doesn't exist. Put the same effort you would into a professional YouTube channel, and you'll do way better on Facebook. And they pay good money. We make good money on YouTube as well. In fact, we've made a mistake, and you can actually see a video. The video released yesterday hasn't even come out on YouTube yet. So if you really wanted to get the first look, you can watch that video on Facebook. But yeah, in terms of, you know, there is market saturation is way past that point on YouTube for fish content, and there, in my opinion, is a drought of content on Facebook. And so I would tell you, go over there. You have the odds of you becoming successful are much better. And if you're successful over there, you could transition back to YouTube and be fine. But trying to come up in the YouTube world is very difficult. I would give this advice to myself. If I was trying to do that, I just wouldn't at this point. How do you take care of detritus worm infestation? Like Planaria? If it's Planaria, just use some Expel P. People can send the emails about signatures. They're gonna get shut down. That's the thing, you know. I get invited to a wedding like a couple weeks ago. I had to shut it down. I hate weddings. I think I literally told him, I'm like, I didn't want to go to my own wedding, let alone someone else's wedding. And I'm busy and don't want to possibly get sick and all of that anyway. But yeah, I get invited to lots of stuff, which I'm flattered, but no. That I need that shirt. I'm flattered, but no. That's the answer to most things. What's my monthly maintenance on my aquariums total? Like money spent? Not very much. Well, I say not very much, but it's basically food. The water's on a well, so that's free. Some power, definitely power. You know, I want to say our power bill here is decent for sure. I want to say it's like $400 a month. It's actually more here than the store because the store is only like 1,000 square feet. This is 3,000. Just regular detritus worms, big pink worms on the substrate. I would probably just get a fish big enough to eat them. Like, maybe get yourself Juraparis or maybe some Platies. It depends on how big those ones are. Can we get more color options on shirts? Nope. The problem with that is, so right now we carry small, medium, large, extra large, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, 5XL. 8 shirts, right? And we carry those for the puffer shirt and the goldfish shirt. So that's 16 variants, all in black. If we wanted to add, let's say, blue, we now have to carry 32 variants, right? Oh, we want 5 different colors. That's 100 and some different variants. And so now all of a sudden we have, what, you have $80,000 in t-shirts? Like, that's ridiculous. Yep. And so the big difference would be our shirts are printed by a company with up to our standards. We put a clear coat on them. We have them bagged. We barcode them. They're 5 color. Well, they're actually 6 colors. White, 5 colors. So that's 6. And then we put a clear coat on it. That's 7 different things. Where something like Teespring or places that'll offer 10 different garments with 10 different colors and all of that. When you order one, they're going to have that go on the printer and they print it, and that flakes off after like 5 washes. Ours are going to last forever. That being said, we also have to pre-buy them all, and we have it done in a much different process, and so it is not advantageous to us to have a wide variety. However, we are doing a different color for the shirts we're going to give away at Aquashellas and events and things like that. And we do want to expand different types of shirts, different logo. Let me just see if the newest logo prototype is here. If it is, maybe I'll see if I can show it to you guys in a timely manner. If it is, if it's not, then we'll just have to wait. And I know that Zenzo will be like, "How dare you?" But that's what I do. Let's see. Those are stand pictures. What day is this? Earlier this month. It's not looking good. Let me see if I can get it from Zenzo, a low res picture real quick. Oh, yep, there's one. Let's see, is that the one? Which one? I like this one more. Let's save that image as new logo. And then we're going to try to import. This is all on the fly, so this is highly likely to just blow everything up because it's the end of the stream and not look good or be awesome. Let's see if I can add a picture. We're going to add an image. Yes. And we're going to add a new source. Nope. See, you're getting the wrong thing. Get out of there. YouTube subscribe button. Beat it. There it goes. All right, let me try again. Usually I have to do all this stuff ahead of time, but being on the fly. All right, we want to add a picture. Where's it at? Yes, an image. All right, here we go. Boom. There, you guys should be able to see that. Let me open it up a little more. So that's the latest. Hopefully you guys can see that. That's the latest. That's the draft. Right now it's being colored and it's going to be vectorized and be done for a new shirt. That'll be the shirt we most likely give out at Aquashella. It's being drawn and designed by Sam Scales. You guys, a lot of you will know who that is. And I just thought it was good because it's got, it's got Murphy on there, it's got Elmer, it's got a little Corridora. I like it. So hopefully you guys, will like that too. And the goal will be to be giving those away. I don't know that we're necessarily going to sell those. We're going to give them away. But we're racing the printers and all of that. So that has to get done. Then we have to get it to the printers. Then we have to get it shipped to the event. And, it might seem like we have a long time, but we don't. It takes a long time to get all that done. And it's hard to, I think we're having a few thousand of them done. So it's expensive. I want to say it's like a $15,000 or $20,000 investment. So yeah. And we're trying to hurry up and get a second design made and through the process for a hoodie to give away to members. We're not sure that'll make it by this one. We're gonna be right against the wire on that one. Do I have any tips on water changes for baby angelfish without using tap water? If you have multiple aquariums, just get like one of your bigger aquariums and just siphon water from there. Well, siphon water out of the angelfish aquarium first, the babies, then siphon it from a bigger aquarium over. That's one way a lot of people used to do. Kind of thinking good enough for the parents, good enough for the babies type of mentality. We need some Enjoy Nature Daily merch. It's true. We've worked with some stuff. It takes a while to find the style we like and all of that. So it's yeah. We've got some mock-ups though. We just never put them to print. All right, it's been a couple hours. I got to use the restroom. I'm running out of stuff to drink and stuff like that. So, and I'm sure I've got work. What is this? Oh, the promo card. That's right. Someone just got the promo card getting shipped out to them. So thank you guys that became a member. If you guys want to become a member, please do. There's more talks coming up. There's benefits at events and that kind of stuff. We're only going to keep adding more and more stuff. When you hop on the train is up to you. If you never do, that's fine as well. We'll still keep doing this. We will, I believe, Friday, we're going to do that member show thing. Last week it was Irene. I'll be on this one. So Friday there'll be a member only little 30, 40-minute thing. Yeah. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys next time. I gotta go.